Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Shakti's Gift. I'm your host, Marigol Era, Ayurvedic wellness coach, creative force, and unschooling mother. For the past 4 years, I've been living my daily life according to Ayurvedic principles. Ayurveda, which means the science of life in Sanskrit, is a traditional systems of medicine with roots in ancient India. It emphasizes a holistic approach to health by balancing the body, mind, and soul. It utilizes natural remedy, dietary guidelines, and lifestyle practices to promote well being and prevent illness. I just want to be real clear with you guys. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a psychologist, but I am very passionate about this human experience and I'm all about being as sovereign as possible in our health. In this podcast, we will not only talk about Ayurveda, we will also meet a lot of wonderful people who are driven by the Shakti's gift of creativity, transformational force, and feminine power. So you'll be in contact with a lot of amazing beings who are doing the work, they show up, even if it's freaking hard, and they evolve. Because that's what we do. Our human life is ever changing. It is our nature to birth and bury new ideas and projects and to follow the seasons of our lives. So I invite you to grab yourself something to drink, get yourself comfortable, and let's dive deep into Shakti's gift. Welcome, beautiful beings. I am very glad to be here with you today. It's it's always a joy to be sitting here with my microphone. So right now I'm sitting in this beautiful office that my husband built for me, and enjoying some tea. It's a CCF. I don't know if you know it. It's coriander, fennel, and cumin, and the seed. And I'm just like drinking this, and it's very good for the winter season and for the digestive system. So I'm just enjoying this as I'm talking with you. Um, how are you? How are you doing? How was your last few days? I know that for myself, I've been through a lot these past weeks. I feel like everything just goes so quickly. I feel like time just fly bys, and um there's a lot of evolution. There's a lot of growth, and as beautiful as it is, sometimes it can be also freaking scary, and it can feel like it's going very fast, and I don't think it's going to go any slower anytime soon. So better get used to it, right? So yeah, so this week I wanted to take some time to reflect, to pause, to just like have a heart to heart talk with you. So, at the beginning of this year, 2024, I was talking with my friend May. We did a podcast together, and it was very fun to be with her, as it always is. And she's, all about numerology and Akashic reading. And she told me that this year is the last year of a karmic cycle for me, and I feel like it's a long cycle of trying to find out what is my place in this society that, let's be honest, I've labeled as a crazy one so many times. All of my adult life, I've been just like going with the flow. I've left the house, my father's house, and I just went from experience to experience without like being attached to anything, moving a lot, um, changing a lot, just like going with the flow, right? Like this is the way I've lived my life. So just going where the wind will take me, like into the wild kind of way. And yeah, it was very fun. I had like so much fun. I've met so many people. I've had so many experiences. I've lived in so many places. it was just very fun to do. It was freeing. It was just liberating to be going with that flow and just like going wherever it feels right. Yeah, it was truly amazing. I don't know if you've seen that movie Into the Wild that I just referred to, but for me, this movie was like an illumination. It was like, oh my God, like I wanted to be like him. I just wanted to leave everything behind and just go travel. And that's kind of what I did in my own way. Yeah. So in my 20s, I was all about like living a super simple life without any attachment to material stuff. And yeah, so that movie, like I remember when he burns his money, it was just like, yes, at that time I was like, yes, this is it. Like we're too attached to money. Like it doesn't make any sense. We shouldn't do that, right? Um, and I've always remembered that well, it's not the last one, but like near the end, I'm sorry if you didn't see the movie, but near the end, he's alone, in this experience of his in Alaska, and he's like stuck there because the river just went up, and he can't seem to find a way out of this place. And as he's about to die, he realizes that happiness is only real when it's shared. And I don't know, that moment in this movie just stuck with me. And even though I've always felt like a lone wolf and I was just going to be by myself my whole life, and like because I was convinced that no one would ever understand me. So yeah, so that sentence where he says that happiness is only real when shared, I don't know, it just makes a lot of sense right now for me. And it did make a lot of sense before, but like more on a philosophical level, but right now it feels very real in a very tangible way. So yeah, so for a few years now I've been very like really questioning like myself about my role in my community and what I have to bring into this world. I'm also questioning myself around like how to set roots somewhere because I never actually did that. I've always moved from one place to another in a very, nomadic mindset. So when the resources weren't there for me anymore, I was just like moving along. I was just like moving forward someplace that would have the resources that I need in this moment. So yeah, so for the past, like I'd say like, my God, almost 10 years, I've tried so many things to put myself out there, and I've tried, writing, painting, coaching, so many other things to bring value around me, but somehow I've never really found like, and nothing was really sticking the landing, until like I found Ayurveda, and that was something else. Like something clicked for me at this moment. I told you guys that I'm not a doctor, and you know like health is a very serious matter for me, and sometimes I struggle, to offer my Ayurvedic services because when we hear the word Ayurveda, it's like it's not uncommon to think about like to associate Ayurveda with healing modality, medicine, dosha and balancing all of that, like nutrition, all of that. When you think about Ayurveda, you think about all of that. And yeah, so I did struggle for the past 4 years around that because I was like, I'm not a doctor. I was always hearing this fatherly voice telling me that I'm not legit in offering health services because I'm not a doctor and I didn't study in that. And it's true. Like, I'm not a doctor. I am not. Like, if you come to me with like diabetes, I don't know what to do with it. Like, I'm not a doctor. I don't know those condition. I don't know how to implement anything around that. For the past years, for the past like 4 years, even when I started my Ayurvedic program, it was like I did that for myself. I wasn't intending to go out there and offer anything, but the more I was discovering Ayurveda and the feminine form of Ayurveda, the more I felt very drawn to it. And I was like, like I kind of need to put myself out there with that because it has so much value. But my fear, yeah, that's where I was going. My fears were really strong and they were knocking at my door and they were like, just like sabotaging everything. Like, just like keep on telling me that I'm not a doctor and I cannot help anyone around Ayurveda, even though like what I've learned has nothing to do with being a doctor uh, at all. Like, it's not that form of Ayurveda. Like, Ayurveda is the science of life. It's how to embody ourselves in this life, in this human life. And you've got like so many facets in Ayurveda. It's not that simple. It's not those conventional doctor where you have like this disease and you have this remedy. Like, it's all like we take in consideration everything. And so the more I talk about Ayurveda, the more I live according to those principles, the more I realize that I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not tripping on that. Like, I eat whatever I feel like eating. And I remember when I was in that class, the people around me, they were like classifying me as a vata eater because I just eat whenever I eat super simple. I might eat some airy, light stuff. Um, I just go with the flow with that as well. I'm a very Vata personality. Um, so so I'm not here to talk about nutrition, although it is very important. I'm not here to talk about illness and diseases, not at this point anyway, because I don't have the knowledge around that, and those fear were so strong. So I just decided to go deeper into those fears so I can understand them. I do think that when fears are coming and knocking at our doors, it's just a sign for us to just go a little deeper to understand what's going on. When we fear something, when we're scared about something, sometimes it's just because we need to transgress it and to understand it even better, like deeper. And I always say that I approach fear as I would do with my kids. So if my kids is coming to me with their fear, I'm not going to discredit them. Why would I do that? I mean, like, that doesn't make any sense. I would just like try to listen to why is that a fear and what is going on? What is beneath that? And that's what I'm doing with myself at this point, because there is a reason why I fear exposing myself as an Ayurvedic practitioner. And it's my role. It's my role to explain to you guys what does it mean for me? What does it mean for me to be an Ayurvedic wellness coach? And for me, what it means is to understand how to go through this human life without losing touch with our spiritual self. And we have like ways to take care of our body and to take care of our emotion and our mind, and all of that. It's all like um together. Like, it's like nothing is separated inside of us. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm exploring my fears around being out there with this modality. the more I think about this, the more I sit with it, with this fear, the more what is really true is coming up. And for me, what is true is that I want to understand better like the feminine energy and the masculine energy. Like these two energy, I love them. I love playing with them. I love talking about them. I love exploring them. I love seeing them in other people. And I feel like there's a lot of healing going on in those area. And I also feel that in the future, like right now and in the future, we need to push our self-care routine in a more expanded way. Um, so yeah, self-care for the body, amazing. I love it. I do it all the time. I mean, it's so fun to do. Like I was I was trying to figure out, I think I do like 4 hours of self-care every day because I just love it so much. It's just like so nurturing and it feels so right. And I'm not only taking care of my body, but I'm taking care of my mind and I'm taking care of my emotion. But all of that is self-care. Like it's not just around like taking a bath or like basic hygiene or, that kind of stuff. It's like it goes deeper than that. And in the feminine form of Ayurveda, we talked about that all the time. That actually transformed my life. So to go over those fears of this mainstream, even though like Ayurveda is not mainstream at this point, but there is still like a mainstream version of what we know is Ayurveda. So yeah, so in this mainstream of Ayurveda, it's amazing, it's great. And there's also another version of that because it's always like that. It's always like that. The masculine energy and the feminine energy, they're both 50% of the story. And if we stick to that one particular version of the story, we miss half of it. And so I think it's just a matter of balancing all of that and regaining our relationship with both of those energy. And I have to say that with those fears, strong, like potent fears, I've never felt so poor, ever since I've started to try to understand what do I have to bring in this society. Like it's been such a struggle. And the more I was like trying to understand and to figure it out, in a way that wasn't aligned, the poorer I got. And before I was struggling with those fears and those questions, I've never felt poor in my whole life. I've just never felt it. I always felt like I was provided for and that there was always gonna be something for me, even like it could be somebody bringing me loads of old clothes that I can repurpose and like sew my own clothes with. Or it could be, I don't know, somebody who just like had too much in their garden and they just like drop food uh to my house because they know that I love that food and they're just gonna give it to me, or I don't know, like an amount of money just like comes down in my life because I needed it, so that was my life before. And then when I started to just like be very rigid and like trying to figure it out, like everything just came crashing down in flames. And then I started to be poor and poor and poor and like trying to hold on to stuff. And it just like um it just feels, you know it just kind of sucks. I just don't like to be restricted. It's just not fun for me. It's just like I don't thrive under pressure like some of us do, and it's great. I don't. And I just like put so much pressure on myself. And the fear when it gets that real, it can be very hard to step away, I questioned that lately. I was like, what's beneath that? And it's like if I recorded at one point in my life that working was going to deny me my freedom. And that fear, when I dug like a little deeper, was like, I fear being prisoner of my own life. And so my next question is, how do I bring value into the world without feeling like a prisoner, without feeling obligated or forced to just like always be there, that kind of stuff. And the answer seems to be simple. It seems to be easy, right? You do something you love and then you don't feel restricted. I mean, right? Like it seems so simple, right? You just do something you love. So then I started to ask myself, what do I love? And I love so many things, and it's sometimes even it can be even hard, to narrow it down. But the thing is, I love Ayurveda. I love to I love getting to know the feminine energy and the masculine energy. I love them both. I love understanding the body's language. And I love everything self care related. And I love beautiful things. And so then I ask myself, how do I put that all together? And yeah, I have like a few ideas that I cannot wait to bring forward. I'm very excited about those. The thing is, I know stuff about subtle Ayurveda, the feminine form of Ayurveda, the self care routine. And the more I talk about it on this podcast and with people around me, the more I found I am fine tuning my offerings. And as Nelson Mandela said, courage is not the absence of fear, but triumph over it. So I say, let's be there for our fears as we can do it for our children. And let's move forward, even though it's freaking scary. Life is so much bigger than our fears. So yeah, so I think that's it. And before I leave you, I have a few people that asked me to do a Q&A. So if you have any questions about Ayurveda, the feminine energy, the creativity, or maybe some self-care routine, I invite you to let them in the comment section. You can also reach out to me at Marigol Era on Facebook, Instagram. And yeah, I'll just gather all your questions and I'll do an episode on that. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate that you're here with me. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share this episode with people you think might benefit from it. If you need support with your lifestyle and well being, feel free to reach out to me. It will be my pleasure to help you with an Ayurvedic consultation. You can go to my website, marigolera.com, to book a session with me. Remember, in the wisdom of Ayurveda, self care is not a luxury, but a sacred responsibility and a journey of nurturing oneself to foster holistic well being. I wish you an amazing rest of your day. Much love to you, and I'll see you in the next episode.